So, morning, Terry. Thank you so much for joining me for a chat this morning. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen your pretty face, so it's great to catch up with you again. And Terry, the reason I guess why we're initially talking today is quite recently, Circle Wellness Academy has been looking at personal trainers in the marketplace and actually trying to decide what makes a really good personal trainer, and on the other side of it, what can actually cause probably more harm than good. Um, so I know you've had some experience over the years. I've seen some of your videos before, and I thought it'd be really good just to catch up with you and to get your view on it, because this is all about getting the best personal trainers we can out there through the academy. And I think your experience is invaluable. So if you're happy, you're okay for me to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, cool. Go for it.
Great. So Terry, how old were you when you first sort of went to a personal trainer? What was it that made you do it?
I was 30. Or maybe I think it was 29. It was just before my 30th. Um, and I felt like it was the push that I needed. I was part of like a boot camp, an outdoor boot camp,
Yeah.
and it was good. I was enjoying it. I was liking that group session. But then it got to the point where I felt like I wasn't really pushing myself much anymore. And the girl that led the boot camp actually went on holiday, and that was what made me go and find a trainer, because I was panicking that that would mean then that I'd just not do anything while she was on holiday.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, how did you go about finding a personal trainer? What did you do to locate somebody to start that?
I went off recommendation,
Yeah,
so I spoke to a few friends, and a couple of friends recommended Danny, um, and then I went on his Facebook page, obviously, to have a bit of a stalk and a look what was on there. Um, and I think what struck me about Danny's page was probably like there wasn't like stock photos of super skinny girls, and it wasn't all about skinny people trying to bulk up and stuff like that. I was really overweight, and I needed help to lose weight, and I wanted to learn what to do, basically.
yeah, yeah. And how did you feel in yourself? So, if I was to talk about your sort of confidence levels at that point, how did you feel in yourself at that time?
um uh, I'll start that again. I felt absolutely awful. I was already 30. I'm just thinking back now. I was 30, and I just thought I need to make this change now, because I'd lost myself, really. I think about even 5 years before that, being, more confident, being in my 20s. And I think for me, hitting 30 was another like knock to my confidence.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I wasn't in a great place, to be honest. I was quite low, um, overweight, and struggling to lose weight.
yeah, yeah. And and so you moved into the sort of personal training. What was your sort of biggest challenges on that journey? So you did the boot camp, you then went one to one with a trainer. Talk to me about sort of the challenges and how you overcame them throughout the journey.
Um, I think really the way that I overcame anything was having Danny there. Really, it wasn't just that I'd turn up once or twice a week for a session. He was always at the end of a text message. He was always at the end of a call. Um, I remember I'd been with him a couple of weeks, and then he gave me a nutrition plan, and I had a party that week, and it was an open bar, open buffet party on the posh yacht hotel. And I was like, oh, if I go there, I know that this is going to be ruined again. And it was my first week of this nutrition plan. So I sold my tickets. I decided not to go.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I remember I sold the tickets on Facebook, and he sent me a WhatsApp, and he was like, "Are those your tickets for sale?" I said, "Yeah." And I think then at that point we had like this huge sort of mutual respect then. Like he knew that I was going to give it 100%. and I decided I was going to give it 100% because I knew that he was giving that time, that effort, and I wanted to show him that I could do it.
Yeah.
So I think probably like bumps in the road, I knew that I always had his support there. And there was times as well where I was like, oh, I've got this night out and I can't not go. And he's like, well, why wouldn't you go? And then he'd just like mentor me before and after how to allow for those nights out and things like that.
Yeah. So this is more than just a training session and a bulk set of sessions. This is about personal trainers who take the time to get to know you, get to know your lifestyle, get to know your confidence and what you need. If we compare that with perhaps maybe friends or family or anyone who's gone through personal training where it's not been that, where it's been slightly different, have you heard what their experiences have been like, what that can do to somebody if it's not that personal relationship, if it's purely functional? What's the sort of end result for those people who are in that type of relationship? Have you any experience of that, Terry?
Yeah, yeah. A few friends that have had trainers that they've not really clicked with at all, or like trainers that have just like shouted in their face and they've trained them until they've puked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They dread going. They absolutely dread going to a session.
Yeah.
I've been in a situation before as well where like friends have gone to a trainer and it's been the same session every week. Yeah, they've been improving. Yeah, they've been lifting heavier, but they know what's coming and they absolutely dread it. They
Yeah.
don't want to go. And I think if you're already in that mindset where you don't want to go, you're not really going to push yourself. You're going to resent the trainer, and then you're going to be glad when it's over.
Mm. Yeah, so it just becomes this almost punishment, I'm guessing.
Definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly the right word. Yeah,
And that's the difference between a personal trainer that will do it as a functional job rather than a lifestyle change, and actually getting
yeah,
to become part of your world and knowing what would help and encourage you on the way.
definitely. I think there's a certain amount of counselling and stuff like that to go along with it as well. There's
Yeah.
times where I turned up and Danny'd be like, "Right, what's wrong?" And he'd know straight away that there was something going on. And then once I'd opened up about it, then we could carry on. Then we could really focus on what we were doing at that time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of crossover, isn't there, between body and mind and this type of stuff. It's not just about what do you look like, what training have you done. It's actually where's your mindset at, your motivation, your confidence.
Yeah.
And that's just so important. So, for me, Terry, one thing that's always stood out for me is your motivation. I know after you had Ruby, you did your bump to burpees, which was, I loved watching it and seeing your journey. But I think the moment more than any was seeing you in that red dress. Wedding, wasn't it, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Tell me how you felt that night when you put on that dress and you went out, and just walk me through that experience.
It was like the big reveal, that wasn't it, that dress? I think I'd started training with Dan in mid-May, and then that wedding was the beginning of July. So it was a very short amount of time that I'd just lost that weight and just changed my whole body shape. And I think it was quite a shock to everybody when I turned up because some people I'd not seen in that 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I hadn't realised how slim I was and how good I looked until afterwards. Like, I was looking at the pictures and then everybody coming over to me at the wedding and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe it, you look incredible." And at the time it's like, "Oh, thanks." And then afterwards I was like, bloody hell, I do. I look great. I look great and feel great. And just to have that confidence to wear a skin tight red fishtail dress at somebody's wedding, it was really, really nice. And yeah, just like beaming with confidence.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And I think this just comes back to how you feel inside as well, just oozes out.
Yeah.
I mean, you just looked sensational. So, through Circle Wellness Academy, we're trying to encourage personal trainers to think about what their clients are going through and how they can be the best personal trainer out there. So if you were to give one piece of advice or a couple of pieces of advice to a trainer who's going through the qualification, what would that be? What would you encourage them to do?
That's a tough one. I think maybe a realization that it's not a 9 to 5 job. You know,
Yeah.
if you really want to be there for your clients, like you've got to be at the end of a message. It's not 24/7, but you know, I think just full support. Like you said, it's not just about the body, it's about the mind as well. And I think the two do go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like providing that sort of emotional support as well goes a long, long way.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Terry. And if there's people out there who are looking for a personal trainer, what advice would you give to them as they look to source somebody to train with? What would they be looking for in a personal trainer's perhaps Facebook or website? What type of thing would they be looking for?
Honesty for a start, like none of this tacky stock photos that you've downloaded off Google or wherever. I think like real life and like a bit of a backstory as well, maybe of your clients that you have trained already.
Yeah.
And yeah, like real photos, real people. And even like small goals that people have achieved, I think that's really important, not just full body transformations. Somebody wanted to squat 50 kilos and they've smashed it in a couple of weeks, stuff like that. I think it really boosts people's morale as well.
Yeah. So baby steps and milestones.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Terry, you are an absolute star. You have always been an inspiration for me, especially now as obviously I've just had Bambino as well, and I'm trying to come back from that. And it is hard, isn't it? And I think having somebody there who can help and support you in times like this is amazing. I just want to say a really, really big thank you for talking to us today. We're going to share this with, students who want to be personal trainers, because I think it's really important that they understand it's more than just a functionality. This is about hearts and minds and really supporting people on their journey. So thank you so much for talking to us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jo.
Thanks, Terry.